came from. And that's where the whole story of Haman, he got his kayach, because once the Jewish people they weren't in such a good situation, he could really get everybody. So, but they turned it around. And when they turned themselves around, so their situation turned around. So the month became changed. Instead of it being a regular mazel, because really, you've heard of astrology? Following the stars. Now you think that's like, people go to have the, what do they go to, one of those card readers, or you see those things when you drive by, when you go, palm readers, this readers, that readers, and they go with the astrology and your horoscope, and there's some people open to the newspaper, what's my horoscope going to be today and tomorrow and, whatever for this month. Okay, so we make a joke out of that because the truth is, they really don't know what they're talking about. But it's not that it's not true. It really should be that way. However, especially during the month of Adar, we turned it around. We have one month that we turned around also, and it's a very not good month. Excuse me? Av. What happened there? The Jewish people were about to go into the promised land. They're really at the door. They're right there. And they go, oh, can we send some spies to check the place out? Just to be sure. Be sure? Okay, so Hashem let them do it. And they came back, no, we don't want to go there. We want to go home. So they stayed in the Midbar for 40 years. And everybody from that time died. So those people couldn't go in. So they turned it around to a situation that instead of going in, it's going to be a really tremendous blessing moment. It went 180 degrees, bad. And therefore, it's a bad month for Jews. It's potentially very bad. If we're not in the right setting, it could be very, very dangerous. So you got one month which was we turned it around to be bad, and another month that we turned around to be really amazing. And they're both right around the same time, just about. 6 months later. So gentlemen, right now you're beginning the first of the most amazing month of the year, potentially tremendous success, gain, growth, all this great stuff. So use the opportunity. What did they do? How did they turn it around for themselves? What did they do? Davin. No, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. No, of course, Davin. They played, what's that game? Catan or whatever it's called. That was that. No, they were not playing Catan. All right.
Risk.
They were Pokemon.
Risk. Monopoly. Risk.
Yeah, they played Risk all right, and it was not a good Risk. It was a real risky time. But the way they won is by davening and learning. That's what the Gemara and the Midrashim talk about. They had Mamasha, that's why they have this thing called, what do they call those things now? Everybody's gotten into them. Beis Medrash, the Mordechai, or something like that. Yeshivas Mordechai Tzaddik, right? So that is what they did at that time. And that turned everything around. And they were Zoicha to a tremendous Kabbalah Torah. That's what it says. They were Zoicha to Kabbalah Torah of Torah Shabbal Peh. Good. All right, you read the little bichel, I guess, right? All right, gentlemen, I just want to make an interesting point. People, you ever eat something that you want to eat, it looks really good, especially when you're a kid, let's say, you want to eat the candy. And you eat lots of it because no one's around and no one's stopping you, and you keep, it's like at a bar mitzvah or something, you keep going over, eating more and more and more. And later on, what happens? You vomit, probably, yeah. I've had a couple of those situations. My kids, they really went way overboard, and the people who we were by said, oh, let them take, don't worry. And I was like, no, I don't like this, because you're not going to have to deal with it later on. And sure enough, as we're driving home, I hear these very bad sounds in the back seat. And I'm like, whoa, open the windows. Oh, it was horrible. And it was like vomit everywhere. Like everyone vomited all at the same time. It was just horrific. The scene, I remember we were in Cleveland, took the winter coats, and we didn't even wash them. We just threw them away on the side of the road or something like that. Somebody's garbage can stuff. And then I drove home freezing cold, but I said, I can't deal with that. So the same thing when we get older, we also know there's certain things like, oh man, I really want that. I'm going to have that 6th or 7th piece of pizza. And you just like somehow manage to find one little spot in there and later on, oh, I needed that spot. I think that was my spot when I move. My ribs needed that little moving spot. So gentlemen, we pay the price later on. So when it goes in, we think it's going to be greater. When it's the same thing with words. People, you're about to say something, and you know it's not nice. It's mean, it's biting, it's sharp, it's hurtful. We're going to, like the guy, we're going to get him. He's hurt me, I'm going to hurt him back, or her, I'm going to hurt her back. Or maybe I'm just going to hurt somebody. I've got a real funny, sharp line. And then as it comes out, we realize, what do we realize? Ouch! Grab those words, put them back in before they hear them. What? Too late. They're out. Who let the dog out? As soon as they're out, done. And you can't take them back. And then you're going to what? Regret it. You're going to pay a price. So what should you do? Forget it. Well, once they're out, they're out. You go, oh, I'm sorry. They go, no, you're not. For sure, if you say it, Peshaz Maisa, it is absolutely worthless. So what do you do to hold in the words? Yes. Say something nice. The truth of the matter is, I heard, it's a pretty famous story, about Rabbi Twersky was on a plane, and he was sitting next to some woman, and the woman, Rabbi Twersky, who passed away, Mati's great uncle, 2 greats. So he, sitting on the plane, looked very, very Hasidish, very Orthodox. And he's sitting next to this woman, and the woman turns to him and says to him in Yiddish, Du bist a Schande. You know what that means? What does it mean? Du bist a Schande. You're an embarrassment. Du bist a Schande. So he looked at her and goes, So she says, you're a disgrace, going around looking like this. Now, what do you think would have been a normal person's reaction?
How dare you?
Oh, you know what? Nah, go, right? Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, that's true, I believe you. Yeah, well, then that's what happened next, that's true. So, but gentlemen, that would be the normal reaction of it just flying right out of your mouth. Rabbi Dr. Twersky did something very different. I was on the plane once and I had the same thing happen to me. So I think I had heard it from Rabbi Twersky. I don't remember if I heard it from Rabbi Twersky, but I copied the same thing on the plane. So later on, when I was together with him at this conference, it was only the 2 of us from people. So we were like exchanging stories, and he tells me that story. I said, oh, I did the same thing too. So maybe you copied me? He goes, really? Yeah. So we were arguing who did it better. But anyway, so I copied somebody. I don't think I thought of it on my own. So he says, I'm not sure what language you're speaking. Now, I didn't do the language thing because the person who said it to me said it in English. So I could say, I can't understand the language you're speaking. Yeah, you spoke in English. What? So I said, he said, in this case, he goes, what language? I'm not comprehending. Is that a foreign language? Is that some German dialect? So she says, what? He goes, pardon me. I don't know what you maybe misunderstood me for somebody else. He goes, I'm Amish. Oh no, so she tells him first. She goes, you go around and you're disgraceful that you look like this. People look at you and that they look at us, and you go around in these old looking clothes and old looking look. And that's what he says. So he goes, I'm not sure why you say that to me. I'm Amish. And she goes, oh, the Amish people. Oh, I love Amish people. I think it's wonderful that you keep up your traditions and it's wonderful that you don't care that other people might look at you a little bit different, but you keep up what you think is important and you pass down your traditions to the next generation. It has continued for so many years. Huh? Oh, yes. So she goes, oh, that's so wonderful. Now, instead of yelling at her and telling her off, he did that. Now comes the kicker. Instead of telling her, when she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, he didn't say to her, you hypocrite. No, he didn't say that.
Just let it go.
He says to her, I bless you that you should find as much of a value and beauty in your religion as well. He didn't tell her he's Hasidish. He didn't say, I'm really Hasidish, you stupid. No, he didn't do that. He said, I wish you that you should find blessing in your life, to find the value and beauty in your own religion. And the lady says, thank you so much for that blessing. So he completely what? He turned it around. So instead of being mean back, he turned it around. He didn't have to go, you stupid head, you're dumb. No. And then the marshal gets on the plane or who knows what else. You could say something nice. Thank you, Zalman. That is true. But even if you're so angry, I have a friend who was told by the doctor after spending so many years trying to have a baby, the doctor came to him and his wife and told them that they will never, ever have children. And he told me, I could feel like a volcano coming up through my body. And he was today he's a Rosh Yeshiva, is a really special person. They adopted children. Excuse me, he had a great family. But back then, he said, I felt the volcano coming up and I was ready. He goes, and my hands grabbed the doctor. It just went out. Now, what do you think the doctor's thinking?
The hell is this guy doing?
This guy is going to?
Kill me.
He's going to choke me. He says, and as my hands went out, I put my hands on his shoulders and he said, thank you. That must have been so hard to tell me. And he said, I bless you that you should have blessing and wonderful things in your life. And the doctor looked at him and he goes, did you hear what I just told you? He goes, yes, I did. And I said, it must have been very hard to tell me that. So there's a case where instead of just, I kill you, I hate you, you can turn it around. So Rabbi Isai, instead of it flying out of our mouths and just lashing out, we have to think of how we can turn it into something very positive. Because if you want positive things in your life, you need to turn negative into positive. Could be a horrible month and we're being attacked and we turn it into something positive. That is the message, one of the most important things to take away from this month. Take away your feelings of anger, your feelings of frustration, your feelings of hate, and turn them into something positive. How to do it? Think. Don't react, but think to yourself, how can I make this into something positive? That's what you need to do. We all have to do it. So instead of, how can I make this into something positive? Because this is an opportunity. It could be so amazing. You know, they say over. It's brought down to Gemara. It says that the most difficult thing is that when somebody says something mean to you, not to respond. I mean, that means not to respond in a negative way. You can respond in a positive way. Amazing. And they tell over many stories about people who were told something was horrible, rude, was said to them, and they did not respond. And there was such a tremendous matzav, a stage of absolute blessing and positivity in their life because of it. So gentlemen, if you want positivity, you have to change and take. We have to take the negativity and turn it into positivity. It's just the opposite. Flip it around. It's going to be a negative situation. Turn it into a positive situation. Someone tells you off, say back to them, I wish you only blessing. You don't have to say, same back to you. No. Just say, I wish you only blessing. Now, you know what the person usually feels, by the way, after they tell you off and you say, I wish you only blessing.
Embarrassed.
They feel embarrassed, guilt. You know, this morning, somebody came over to a bacher in this yeshiva. I heard him say it and said something rude. And the guy did not respond. And I told him, I said, you know, that is real growth. You not only didn't respond, you were actually pretty nice to the guy who said it. And I got to say, that is real change. That's real growth. If you want blessing in your life, that is the way you need to act to get it. All right, let's think positive. Let's have a great day.